Hello class, today's lesson is going to be chapter 2 called DNA and Genes from our ULS lesson, so let's jump into it. We have our packet here, it's chapter 2. What we're going to need, we're just going to be reading and answering the comprehension questions. So we have the type that are cut out and glue in. So I'm going to pause my video for a second, and these are the pictures we're going to use. We're going to use the bigger ones because I have the bigger questions. So we're going to cut out this top row here. So see you after you've cut them out. Okay, so I've cut out our 5 pictures for our comprehension questions. Again, this is for chapter 2, DNA and Genes. So we're gonna first, like we always do, read the questions that we're gonna have to answer so we know what to pay attention to. Number 1 says, cells have something special inside called blank. Okay, so something inside of the cells. Number 2, DNA is a set of blank. Okay. Number 3, people, animals, and blank have DNA. And number 4 says, blank in DNA makes some things tall. Okay. Number 5, DNA and genes make living things look blank. All right, and our vocabulary, our choices are going to be different, directions, DNA, traits, and the last one is plants. So those are going to be the 5 vocabulary words that we're going to be paying attention to in this article. As a reminder, chapter 1 was called Living Things and Cells. So we learned about how all living things have cells inside of them, and that's what makes them look and act the way that they are. On the cover page of this article, we see a picture of some DNA. That's close up what it looks like under a microscope. We can't see that with just our eyes. And then the picture for traits. Remember, traits is how we have a different colored eyes or different colored hair, different body builds. Those are our traits. And then we have a picture of different cells over here. Okay, so the beginning of the article has a picture, I think, of our teacher again and our friend, and they're learning about DNA in their classroom. So it says, Todd wants to know more. That's who was learning about our living things last time, Todd. He asks what they will learn next. We will learn about DNA, says Mr. Kinder. So that's the teacher and the student. They're going to learn about DNA. So let's learn about DNA with them. In our picture, it looks like there's cells and then DNA. So the text says, living things are made of cells. That's what we learned last week. Cells have something special inside them called DNA. I think that may have been one of our, maybe. All right, so they have something special inside them called DNA. DNA is a set of directions. A set of directions. DNA is grouped together in genes, not like the genes that we wear. This is genes in our body. I know that's a little confusing, same word, but it's spelled differently. Genes tell the cell what to do, so that's why it's kind of like directions. It tells the gene what to do. Genes tell the cell what to be. So should they be blue eyes? Should they be blonde hair? Should they be freckles? It's all, what it should be in our body. Next page, page 12, says, every living thing has its own DNA, People, animals, and plants have DNA. Traits in DNA make things tall or short. So that's traits. Traits in DNA make things tall or short. Last page of the article, or the chapter, sorry. So what have we learned? In summary, Every cell has DNA. DNA gives directions. And DNA and genes make living things look different. They make them look different. Okay, so we've seen a lot of the vocabulary. Again, in our packet, we have our handy dandy communication board. We can be pointing along with it as we read the story. It has all the vocabulary that we're seeing in this chapter. All right, so I'm going to be using a glue stick today to help glue down the pictures, but again, you can use tape. You can just put the picture right on top of it without gluing it. You can use magnets and a magnet board. There's so many ways that you can do this, so use whatever you've got at home. Okay, here we go. I almost forgot. I'm going to use a highlighter to write my name on the top of the paper. Miss P. Okay, number 1. Cells have something special inside called, I think it's DNA. Cells have something special inside them called DNA. That's their directions. All right, I got my glue stick. Remember, dot, dot, not a lot. Answer to number 1 is DNA. Great. Cooking right along. Number 2 says DNA is a set of, let's see. DNA is a set of different? No. DNA is a set of directions. Yeah, it tells the genes what to be, what to look like. DNA is a set of directions, just like Alexa or Siri give us directions of how to get to school. All right, number 3, people, animal, and blank have DNA. Okay, people, animals, and traits have DNA? No, that doesn't make sense. Or people, animals, and plants have DNA. Yeah, this sentence makes sense. We learned that people, animals, and plants have DNA. That's what makes us living things. Okay, people, plants, and animals have DNA. Question number 4. Blank in DNA makes some things tall. Blank in DNA makes some things tall. I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back to the article. Something in DNA makes some things tall. Okay, so look back in our article. I think I found it on page 12. It says traits. Oh, traits. Let's see. Traits. Traits in DNA make things tall or short. That's the answer we're looking for. All right, go ahead and put traits in number 4. Traits in DNA make some things tall. Oh, Miss B. Traits in DNA make some things tall. Great. All right, question number 5. We only have one word left, so let's see if it fits. DNA and genes make living things look different. Yeah, that's exactly what we learned about, that DNA and genes make living things look different. That's why I don't look like you and you don't look like me. We are all different living things. Although we may look similar, right, to the people that we're related to. I look a lot like my mom. We are different people, but we can look alike. But it's our DNA and genes that make living things look different. All right, great job, everybody, reading and answering the comprehension questions for Chapter 2, DNA and Genes. Great job. Bye.